Hi, welcome. Today we shall look at a parable from the book of Matthew, chapter 25, the parable of talents. Now the way of man is the design and fulfillment. When we want to build a house, we make the design of the house. Then we build the house according to that design. And when the house is completed, it becomes the fulfillment. The way of God is the same, the design and then fulfillment. So today we have this parable of the talent as a design that Jesus has given to us. We shall look at the fulfillment, which is the spiritual meaning behind the parable. And first we are going to read it. For it will be as when a man going on a journey called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not winnow. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sowed, and gather where I have not winnowed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For everyone who has will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away, and cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. There men will weep and gnash their teeth. Now each of us should take this parable to heart. It's very important in the spiritual kingdom because Jesus is teaching us to become spiritually rich. Jesus using the parable, the talent, to teach us that we can multiply the talents. So in the spiritual kingdom, the Spirit of God is very important. And we can accumulate the Spirit of God in the spiritual kingdom. So first, sharing with you the important things about the Spirit of God. So from 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 40 and 41, there are celestial bodies and there are terrestrial bodies. But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For star differs from star in glory. From these two verses, we can understand that our spiritual body can be clothed with the glory of the sun, the glory of the moon, and the glory of the star. Now, God has given us physical body as a design. The spiritual body is the fulfillment. And our spiritual body can be clothed with the glory of the star, glory of the moon, glory of the sun. Now these three glories are the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Christ. And Christ Jesus share his inheritance with us. From the moment of Jesus' resurrection to the end of time, we are co-heir with Christ. So each individual is co-heir with Christ, and as a whole lot of people, we are the people of God. We are the fulfillment creation, and we are co-heirs with Christ. So as a whole, God wants the people of God in the fulfillment time to be spiritually beautiful, spiritually rich, spiritually strong. Compare with the people of God, the chosen race, the Israelite people. They are just a design. They were chosen design, but the fulfillment people of God are meant to be so rich because we are the fulfillment. And so, thinking of the Spirit of Christ, I'm sharing with you one verse from Isaiah chapter 11 verse 2. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. That is how the Bible describes the Spirit upon Christ. And so Christ, once he rose to life, he inherited all the Spirit of God the Father. And that Spirit is given out to the earth, given out to you and me, given out to us, all the people of God. The fulfillment people of God is for us. And that's why we have 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 40 and 41, because our spiritual body are meant to be clothed with the Spirit of Christ. That is the glory of the sun, the glory of the moon, and the glory of the star. These three are very precious, and they are just like level, like in our world we may have, gold, silver, and diamond. So in the God kingdom, the true riches is the glory of the star, the glory of the moon, and the glory of the sun, and they are Spirit of Christ, and they are for us to accumulate, to reap, to grow. So in this parable, Jesus is telling us that we should multiply, we should reap heavenly treasure, we should accumulate heavenly treasure. So from this parable, we should make our aim, make it that's our purpose in life, to reap the glory of God. That is the glory of the Son, is the glory of Christ. When Christ was transfigured, his face shone like the sun, beautiful, dazzling white. His whole body is filled with that Spirit of that is the glory of God, and that is the glory of the Son, and we can have that chance to have it. Now, it's all part of the fulfillment, and we must surrender ourselves to Christ. So Christ will pour out his Spirit upon us. Now, The fulfillment is for us to have it, but it doesn't mean that each of us have it. It could mean that we only have the glory of the star. It could mean that we have both glory of star and moon. It could mean that we do not have the glory of the sun. But God wants us to have all three. God wants us to have glory of star, the glory of the moon, glory of the sun. And the glory of the sun is very hard to get because it's the glory of God. And so to have the fulfillment means we should have it. And we surrender to Jesus to get the fullness of the fulfillment. Now, to get the fullness of the fulfillment, we need to obey the Bible to the full. And whatever the Bible tells us to do, we must do it for our chance to get the glory of the Son. And from this parable, we can ask the question, how do we reap heavenly treasure? How do we become more beautiful? How do we become spiritually richer? So God has given us the parable of the Good Samaritan, that is to be compassionate to others. So we must obey the Bible by doing it, by being compassionate to others. And being compassion can come in two aspects: spiritual aspect, physical aspect. So if you give someone some food to eat, that is physical. Some clothes to wear, that is physical. But if you are helping somebody spiritually, help them to convert, help them to come back to God, help them to belong to God, help them to grow spiritually, then you are doing the work of compassionate to others spiritually. And so when we are compassionate to others, then we are obeying the Bible, then we are reaping heavenly treasure, and God will give us accordingly. We do not need to worry about being paid spiritually, because God gives always accordingly. In our job we get paid, and it's according to what we do, how much we do, and we get a salary, and usually it's fair to us because we put in the work. Now spiritually, when you work for God, you are doing the work of compassion, being compassionate to others, and God will reward us. The Bible also tells us to pray, to fast, to love God above all things. We must do everything that the Bible tells us to reap heavenly treasure, to grow. Now, our body physically given to us here as a design, and it's very beautiful, and it's very great, and it's very good. Yet for God, it's only a design, because the fulfillment is the spiritual body, is corresponding to that physical body. We may have a spiritual heart, we may have a spiritual forehead, we may have spiritual arm and legs, and and body. And so when the Spirit of God is given to us, and we can surrender to Jesus to get everything, to get a spiritual heart, to get a spiritual body, to get spiritual arm, to get spiritual eyes. Now God gives us accordingly, and so we should always surrender to Christ to get the fullness of the fulfillment, to get everything. Just think of the fulfillment, like we have a design of the house, and we have the house. How much we treasure the house compared to the design, because the house, we can live in it. And so when we stepping back and back and back, we look at everything, then the spiritual body is so great compared to the physical body, because it's the fulfillment. And so we should aim to make our spiritual bodies to be beautiful, to be strong, to grow, and because that is more important, it's everlasting. And you can imagine also God given us the earth here as a design, and it's so great. Yet for God it's only a design, because the fulfillment is heaven. Heaven means we have supernatural life. Heaven means our spiritual body is spiritually alive. And so When God gives to us a spiritual body, we will have heaven. We will live forever in heaven. And that's the fulfillment, and it's more important. And so today with this parable, we should aim to get everything that God desires us to get. That is to have the beautiful spiritual bodies clothed with the glory of the star, the glory of the moon, and the glory of the sun, that are the Spirit of God and given to us because we are co-heirs. Because Jesus tells us to store treasure in heaven. That is to reap the Spirit of God by doing acts of compassionate to others. And so with this parable, I hope that we all take it to heart, to know and understand that we can be spiritually rich, we can be spiritually beautiful, we can be spiritually great. So thank you for joining me today.